I have secured over £100,000 in contracts in my first 6 months of starting a company that I knew nothing about and I had zero experience in. How did I do it? How did this happen? We're going to talk about it. Shockingly, and it may be something that you have heard before, it may be something that you're hearing for the first time, but I tell you, and I kid you not, experience is not king. It is not about experience. The number one thing you need in business is audacity. People get opportunities in life, not necessarily because they're the most qualified, because they're the most intelligent, but it's about you being bold enough to position yourself, to put your own proposition forward and say, I'm the guy, I'm the one that you need. When we're talking about you having audacity, what it does for you and why we want you to start quickly is we want you to test your market. The people who, whether you're launching a product or it's a service, of course, I'm talking about this from a service business perspective, but if it's something that you're going to be launching, you want to make sure that it resonates with the people that you're approaching. And one of the things that I think is so important to consider in this area is when we're looking at service businesses, so just like I said, from the perspective of having a commercial cleaning company, these kind of businesses are evergreen. There will always be a need for them. People will always need to have their business premises cleaned, or an office or a primary school or whatever it might be. So you will need to test that maybe this area that I am in, is it super competitive at the moment? Is it accessible? Am I able to get to the right stakeholder and point of contact? I think I'm even going a bit deep for today, but I hope we get the gist of what I'm saying. Start, get the feedback that is valuable, and then you'll pivot, you'll iterate your product. You'll say, we're going to make this change. We're going to make this amendment. Or I'm getting a lot of calls or queries about maybe having a website link or having a brochure. So that's how you know what to step into next without wasting your time. You don't have to necessarily have a website, a brochure, a this and a that, everything straight away. You just need your audacity to go out and test what you want to launch. Okay, so we're making our way through, guys. We're getting there. We're getting there. Now, the next thing in the same vein is to be okay with failure. I want you to be okay with failure. And I'm going to give you an anecdotal story, personal anecdote. This is something that happened to me when I started my cleaning company. I had set up a Calendly link, shout out Calendly. For those of us who know, it's an appointment booker. And one day I suddenly saw on my Zoom, after I had done some outreach, that I had a meeting booked. And this client had asked for like multiple sites, like maybe 5 sites. They're a huge name. I'd even reached out to them, just did a cold call. And I was like, yeah, maybe it will go somewhere, maybe not. But they actually got back to me. And I remember the first meeting I had with this lady. She grilled me. She grilled my ass, guys. She grilled me. She asked me all of the difficult questions that at that stage in us having a company, I didn't want her to ask. But like I said, point one, audacity. So I already had a vague sort of piece together of what I wanted to say. But anyway, I was nervous. I didn't have the answers maybe she was expecting. And even after the call, I wasn't expecting to hear from her. Long story short, sent her a quotation. The quotation that I had sent her was obviously not, when I look back at it, it was way higher than it should have been because we weren't VAT registered, all that jazz anyway. And this opportunity itself was probably worth like 100K in the contract that we could have gotten with her, was probably way north of 100K, and a fast growing and vibrant company. But what it taught me, even though we were chasing them year on year, what it taught me was what to not do next time. And I would never have been exposed to such an experience and an encounter had I not have just tried. From point zero to where you've landed, even if it's not the desired destination, you will still have been equipped with an understanding of your market or your user or your client? Is that the kind of client you'd want in future? Or do you want to pivot and maybe go for another sector? Is it that you think that you weren't prepared enough? So next time you'll prepare for a certain line of questions that you might have neglected. It definitely made me a lot more prepared on the next call that I had and every single call after that. So remember, audacity. And then we're talking about be comfortable with failure. Now I will also talk about research and looking at your, let's say, competitor analysis, looking at those alongside you who are perhaps doing the same thing. Maybe they're already in the area of the market that you are, your niche, they're already also present there. You're thinking, I want to be like these guys and greater. Let me kind of gauge, for example, pricing, or let me gauge what is the sequence of what is the customer experience or the client experience from the point that I put a query in their website? What then happens? So you can also learn from things that they're perhaps not as effective at, and you can improve on it and make that your distinguishing flavor. You're going to, of course, do that competitor analysis, but you need to have some sort of basic understanding of the area that you're entering into, so that when you get on those kind of calls like I had, you won't be caught out. Or when you're in front of your client, be it you're having a Zoom call, it's an on-site meeting, you're knocking on doors, wherever they are, you are able to sound like you are qualified. Now, this is not a fake it until you make it sort of messaging, but we say sound like you're qualified because that audacity, that packaging of a person is, they may not necessarily need to know the history of whether you've launched a business before, how successful it is, but what their point of interest will be is, can I trust that this person is of integrity, that they have a level of knowledge that will be required for the kind of thing that I'm going to be asking them to do, or I'm going to be contracting them to do, or that I'm going to be buying from them? Do I trust them? And that is something that, as you do that foundational research, you learn about your industry, you pick your niche, you look at what's around and you say, hey, this is not currently there. Or maybe you're in a crowded market and you say, you know what, I'm just going to undercut my competitors. You learn all these things as you do some preliminary research. Those are 3 key points that when it comes to starting your business, it may not be maybe as, this is the kind of sector that you should go into, as you hear a lot of people say. You can do this for any sort of business idea that you have. But these are 3 foundational must-haves that you need when starting your 6-figure, 100K business in 2025 and beyond. Once again, my name is Cassie. This has been Serviceable. Like and subscribe. I'm new to this, so just had to tag that along. Like and subscribe. Tell me what you want to hear. Our details are also in the description. So you can email us and say, Cassie, this is a business dilemma that I have. This is a question that I have. This is a topic that I want to hear more about, or let's hone in more into the commercial cleaning stuff. We can do all of that. Cannot wait to see more of you and for you to see more of us. See you guys. Bye.